You will not achieve success until you realize that it's not glamorous in the beginning. And now, again, this is coming from a guy, hey, I mean, hopefully in 10 years from now, you look back at this channel and I'm doing great, right? But right now, I have not achieved nothing. Like, I don't want to say nothing because that's going to discredit my authority completely. I'm building, right? But nowhere near what I want to achieve, right? But I noticed, and I mean, this is an obvious thing, that like success isn't glamorous in the beginning, but nobody realizes that. Like, people think it and like they acknowledge it, but nobody realizes it. And here's what I mean is like, you've never seen anybody's journey unless they've documented it. And I'll bring up an example here. But like, when you look at success, it's immediate envy. It's immediate. You skip past everything. You shortcut private victories. You shortcut losses, everything right to where they're at. And you have no context for how they got there. You have no context of the ups, the downs, everything. And most people are going to assume it's easy, right? Or that was like a fluke or something happened and like maybe, right? But probably not. So here's an example of somebody who's documented the whole journey. I talk about Eman Gadji a lot. If you Eman and Alex Hormozi are like the two people that I watch like the most content of. But Eman has documented his entire journey. And a video that I found super inspiring, I just want to say this to start off, is go back and watch older videos on channels. Alex Hormozi is a great one. All his advice is good, but his new like pop-up style, like all that shit and editing, like it's fine. The content's great, obviously. I'm just saying I like his older videos, and the advice is still great. Like, people just don't go back on his old videos to watch his old advice, and I'd honestly argue that's where like the hidden gems are at. Same with Eman, right? I'd rather watch the come up of somebody and hear their advice as they make more money, as they level up, than at the top, because at the top, like, I don't know, it makes sense you'd want to hear advice at the top. But anyway, I digress. I'm talking about Eman's old video. He's at the stage I'm at right now. And that is inspiring to see. I'll just say it like that, right? It's not inspiring to me, like maybe a little bit, right? But to see somebody at the absolute 1% is so hard. It's so fucked, because it's like, what? Like, I'm nowhere near the 1% of people. Like, that's insane. I have a bit of a ways to go to get there. But to look at somebody like as they're rising up, like, that's why when you get a mentor, like, if you've never made $10, you're not going to go to $1 billion. You're not going to go to Elon Musk and be like, dude, how do I make money? It's like, he's on another level. He's not like, you know what I mean? You go to the guy who made $10 or who made $100, right? Like, again, it's like, you're not jumping to a billionaire mentor. Just take it one level at a time, right? You have to get to $1 million before you get to $1 billion. I mean, that's a huge jump from $1 million to $1 billion. So, in this video, though, if you've seen him now, he's balling, right? But he always believed that, you know, people who achieve these things, there's work that went in behind it, obviously, right? This is just the truth. And you can see it because he documented it. And I'm telling you, watch these people, because this is what will inspire you. This is what will actually keep you moving, is when you see somebody who has already made it, but you can go back and view the process of them making it. And I mean, I'm sure there's other ones out there, but Eman's such a good example, because you can just see him as like an unconfident teen who's just working and he's unsure, and then like to see where he's at now, right? So he's doing, I don't want to say 6 hours of deep work, that might be a lot, but in his day, it is boring. And he says that. He says all the time, it is not glamorous, it is not sexy. It is just work. It is just fucking work. And maybe I'll have time to like see friends. Maybe I'll have time to do this thing and the other thing, but overall, not really, right? He wakes up in a normal looking house, he grabs a coffee, he maybe eats some food, and he goes to work in blocks, in 60-minute blocks. Then he, you know, does a few breaks for lunch, watches YouTube, probably like I've done a million times, and he gets some inspiration from YouTube and goes back to work. Work block, work block, work block. And it's just so inspiring to me, because that's where I'm at right now, where like I'm doing this work with like, I don't want to say little ROI, but I'm just like, is this for a purpose? Is this for a reason? Like, my whole life is work, right? And I view that as a bad thing, and it's really up to you. Work-life balance is a completely optional thing. Like, if you like work, you don't need to work. Like, work-life balance, that could be 80-20, that could be 70-30, that could be 50-50, 40-60, like, I don't know. It could be anything that you want, right? It's just a matter if you like the work or not. So yeah, it's like you get to choose what that balance is. So anyway, I say all this to say, watch these people, watch these types of people when they're at where you're at right now. That's what you need. Inspiration for you, because like you are constantly on YouTube consuming shit where it's like boom millionaire, boom billionaire, boom this person who's done this thing and done this awesome thing, and it's like too much for you to process. It's almost like you're starting to watch these people for entertainment, right? Like I genuinely feel like I'm starting to watch inspirational, like not inspirational, but like real life advice, right? Where people are telling you, okay, here's how you start an agency, here's how you do this, here's how you do this. And it's just for entertainment. Like I'm not even going to do the things, right? It's starting to become like there's no point because you're watching somebody levels ahead. And yes, you can learn from these people and you can pull these ideas from them. But it's so much better to just have somebody who's like a little bit ahead of you, right? Like that's more inspiring to me. I don't know. So my point is I just watched the video. I saw E-Man doing that deep work and just talking about how boring his life is. And honestly, like, I don't want to say it, but like, it looked boring, right? Like, and I was like, oh my God, that's me right now. Because I sit here all day and I'm pissed at myself. I'm like, oh, your life's so boring. You just, you just write and try to grow a Twitter and a newsletter and a podcast. And for one, like, I don't really think that's boring. I'm just like, that's just the outside voices or like, the internal talk that's like trying to tear me down. But like, I don't know. It's just kind of bullshit, right? It's like that work is meaningful. That is for a purpose. And it has to be not glamorous in the beginning. And then guess what? Once I do go on Instagram and start balling and start posting Rolexes and me and my Lambos, right? It's like, oh, that guy did some shit. That guy did something to get that. I would hope, right? And I don't think I'm ever going to be that person who really like flexes. We'll see how this ages. Maybe it'll age like wine. Maybe it'll age like milk. But yeah, I don't know. I just had to say that because I watched that video today and I was like, this is so inspiring because I'm in the part right now where it's not glamorous, right? And it's so tiring to sit because what you're doing, right? Let me just explain this real quick. Is you're in the not glamorous part, but you're only watching people at the glamorous part. What the fuck? Like, what is happening there, right? So as you sit and work, you work and you work and you work, you watch the successful people who have work. Keep in mind, you're not seeing the buried work, the hours, the days, the weeks, the months, the years of work. You're seeing them party. So what's your problem now is that you're in the boring stage, they're in the fun stage, but they went through the boring stage. So you have this FOMO, right? Anytime you go on anything, right? Like I go on Snapchat for a second to check one story, FOMO, boom. I'm just like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing shit. I'm boring. Whatever. So you're like, it goes back to that basic like comparison thing, but like you have to realize there's levels to it. Like stop, you're in the non-glamorous phase and you're looking at people's glamorous phase. That's what's almost uninspiring. It's like it's like backwards, right? Like, yeah, you can look at somebody way ahead of you and be like, oh, I aspire to be like them. But I'm more inspired by looking at E-Man 5 years ago, working his ass off and saying everything's boring and he works for 7 hours a day and sits and watches YouTube because I know where he got to. I know where that got him in the end, right? It's like it's the uncertainty that kills you, right? You don't know if you're going to make it. But this person put in the work and he made it. And you can watch it. That's a whole other level. It's like you knew that before, that people put in work and make it. But can you watch the work happen? Can you see their progress? So now that inspires me because I'm like, oh, this person worked for X amount of years and made it. I can too, right? And that everybody has that boring stage. And nobody's willing to do it. And that's why you get what you get in the end. Because nobody's willing to do that. If I told you, you have to sit down, work for 2 years every day, you just sit at the computer, you write Twitter threads, you make courses, you do graphics, you ghostwrite, you make an agency, you build a dropshipping store, you do e-commerce, you build a YouTube channel. If I told you these things and said, sit down every day at your computer for 10 hours a day or this much or however much you could possibly do in a day and work on it for an entire year, barely see results, or maybe see some, but just like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, right? Most people be like, fuck that, dude. And that's fair. I guess that's fair. But that's worth it. Like that, and that's why you'll get it. That's why you'll get the end result, is because most people won't do that. Most people will not sit down when they come home from work, when they come home from school, and do shit that goes towards something. There's outlets everywhere. Boom. Open your phone, you're gone. You are gone. Think about how much potential you have that is being lost to mindless activities. And like, yes, I've done mindless activities. I still do mindless. Like, I'm off TikTok. I've opened it, I want to say 2 or 3 times today, and I've watched maybe 5. And that's not crazy. Like, it sounds like cope. I've probably watched 3-4 minutes of TikTok today. That's not bad for me. That is a win. And I'm ready to just, like, I don't even know why I still open it sometimes. I don't know. Still the monkey mind. But you're channeling it into some bullshit. Right? And most people are channeling energy into bullshit. So it's just like, do what people don't do. And one of my favorite quotes, I don't know if I said this before, is that people, maybe I said in the video where I ranted about school, if I even posted that, but like, most people get ahead in the time that others waste. So don't waste it. Just do the opposite of what people do. And this is going on like a whole other rant right now, but I just had to bring that up because it was just like, I thought it was relevant. So with that being said, I feel like that's everything I wanted to cover. I feel like I was going to go down a rabbit hole there, but I don't want these videos to be too long. But there's really no structure with this. This is something where you look back. Hopefully we're balling, however many years from now. But until then, it's just going to be these types of videos. But yeah, with that said, I want to sort of backtrack and recap on everything that was said. Watch people that are at your level. That is inspiring. If it's not inspiring to you, don't, but it's super inspiring to me, and realize that success is not glamorous. It is, but not in the beginning, and you have to realize that, because that will turn people off immediately. Like, most people want success, I mean, no shit, because it's glamorous. But then it's not glamorous from the start. They're like, well, what the fuck? I wanted this to be glamorous. And it's like, well, yeah, it's not going to be glamorous in the beginning. How are you going to get that beautiful end result with nothing to show for it? Like, all that submerged work isn't there. Like, it gives me vibes of just that picture of that iceberg, right? Where it's like all this stuff at the top, and it's like, well, under the ice, it's all that. And that's what you're not seeing, right? You're only seeing this like, oh, it's just a one-way path where I post a YouTube video and it goes viral the next day. Like, no, it's like a year of uploading, and not only uploading, but like iterating, finding your niche, finding what videos work, doubling down on it. Like, there's a lot more shit that goes into this. And yeah, I just think this was a video I had to make, because when I watched that today, I was like, holy shit. So I don't want to repeat myself 1,000 times, because I feel like I do that too much. But with that said, I hope this helped you in some way. If it did, fuck yeah, dude. Leave a like. I don't know, leave a comment, sub. I don't really know the goal of this channel is, but again, it's more one of those things where it's like, we're going to look back 10 years. We will be balling, and we will be balling. That's the thing. I will not be balling. If you're watching this, if you're watching it now, like as I'm posting it, holy shit, that's interesting because the channel is so fresh. But we'll be balling by then. And if you're watching it, 10 years when I'm balling, 10 years from now, you'll be balling too. Just got to put in that boring work. Just fucking be boring for a bit. That's it. That's all you got to do. Most people don't want to be boring for a little bit, right? It hurts them. It's like the second they start locking in on work, it's like, no, I got to be doing some other shit. It's like, no. If you were just able to have a little bit, an ounce of just like, I can fucking stick with this, I can do it for a little bit longer, you'll win. Just fucking stick with it, dude. Just stick with it. Like, goes back. I'm ending it now, but you cannot lose if you don't quit. Impossible. So, with that said, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.